this episode, we are full on spoilers for both the books and the show.
Oh,
hey, I'm Glenn.
I'm Max.
We got it?
Yeah.
And that's Mitch. We lost him for a second. Welcome back to What the Adaptation, the YouTube channel that reviews adaptations from one format to another. This week, we continue with Season 3, Episode 6, Immolation. And it's the last episode of The Expanse that covers Caliban's War. What do you guys think of this episode?
Excellent episode. A great way to finish off the first half of the season. Hi, I'm Mitch.
Yeah. Hey, there you are. That's all right. Things happen.
Yeah, a last-minute emergency.
That's fine. I almost had one of those about a minute ago myself, and I almost spilled a bunch of coffee. That would have been bad. So, all right, Max, what can you tell us about this episode?
Well, it's the same director as last week, Jeff Woolnough. New writer, Ellen D. Fourier. I'm going to butcher that name completely. Writer-wise, one episode of The Expanse. Did 11 episodes of Grimm. Looks like he did, let's see, The Life, a movie, I guess, for TV. The Handler, 5 episodes. Da Vinci's Inquest, 91 episodes. I never watched it. I don't know anything about it.
No, I've heard
The
of
Ghost
it.
Whisperer, 1 episode. So he's got some experience. He probably has, I want to say, looks here's a lot more stuff for producer credits. But he doesn't really, how to put it, look that big into writing. But he's got that one show that has 91 credits, which isn't anything to slouch on either.
No, it's not.
Yeah. And you also
that lasts that long.
Yeah, and you have to remember too that generally they give one of the writers credit, but all the writers are involved in each and every show. So there is that.
And they usually end up, the episodes you didn't write, you're usually listed as a co-producer.
Yep. And they do show on here, like they have obviously Mark Fergus, Daniel Abraham. They say Hawk Ostby and Haley Lambert as like staff writer.
There's one scene I know for a fact because I listened to Ty and That Guy that was written by Daniel Abraham, and we'll get to that scene in a while though. But it was a pretty good scene. So where do you guys want to start? Max, you got something for us to start with?
Yes, I do. If I can find my questions here. What was changed from the source, and how did those changes impact your enjoyment of this episode?
Yeah.
What was changed?
There's a lot. Yeah.
Nothing at all. No.
Right.
No.
You must not have read the same book I read.
Yeah.
Bobby was there, right?
She was.
Yeah.
You have fundamental changes that they put together, and this goes back to the previous episode because the two of them actually encompass the last, I think, 10 chapters of the book, and the sequence of events that occurred, who did what, and so on is different. In the book, it was oh goodness gracious, Holden, who actually went to the Agatha King and personally confronted Wynn. All right. Now, in this particular case, it's actually very anticlimactic. We never see Wynn. And it is so disappointing. I would love to have seen him, go down somehow.
Yeah,
but
all he does is sit there in his spacesuit. All he does is sit there in the spacesuit, and I'm like, I mean, yeah, he got shot in the side, but why isn't he down?
Oh, that's not Wynn
at this point.
That is not Wynn.
That was his voice. That was Byron Mann's voice.
Oh, is it? Good God!
Yeah,
I didn't realize. I thought it was someone different all this time.
The helmet really distorts his face, but it was definitely Byron Mann's voice.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Well, that's news for me, and I've seen this countless times.
Hey,
I thought it was the smile that gave it away when he was laughing and they were leaving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just
Goodness.
don't understand what Wen is doing, just standing there, sitting there. Okay, his gun doesn't have any bullets, so he just stands there, and like other dead bodies laying around, they were all armed. Everybody was armed. There's guns all over the CIC. All
Well,
she's doing is standing there.
maybe the auto doc didn't get to him in time.
Maybe.
Who knows? Okay. Oh, thank you. I never
No
paused
problem.
it there, so I never saw that that character was Win. I thought it was some guy on the bridge.
No,
I figured it was Win right away because he knew about the whole codes on missiles.
right.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just being slow.
That's fine.
And
That
the other
happens to
guys
us all.
didn't know the details of what they launched, and
It's
Yeah.
like I don't know if you paid attention last season. It took until I think it was one of our guests came on and pointed out that at the time during one of the flashback during one of the sequences, you could see a little girl off in a dome dancing and waving, and it never clicked in my head that was May.
Oh,
When
okay.
she's standing there looking up, the two things, and in hindsight, it's completely obvious. And I'm like, how did I not catch that?
Oh, okay.
But I don't know.
Well,
It happens to us all.
luckily, that's one I did catch. So
Yeah,
I'm
it
one
happens.
for
Like I said,
two.
it happens to us all.
All right.
There's a lot of changes. Go ahead, Mitch. Do you have another one you want to bring up before I take a couple?
Then I mean, in the book, as I said, we have Holden going to the Agatha King aboard the Razorback, and then you have going down to the surface. Actually, the Rocinante lands on the surface, just as it does in this episode, but you only have Amos, Prax, and Bobby who go in. Bobby never goes inside the complex. She identifies that the protomolecule hybrid is outside and never goes in. So we have that change. Other things that occur inside, obviously, the whole bit with Holden, capturing Win and so, or not Win, Mao and such. That doesn't occur according to book, but they cover it. I think they cover it in a better manner in the show. So that's a big difference that we've got there. Also, one thing that
what do you mean that? Which part did you mean that the capturing of Jules Pierre Mao?
Yeah.
See, I like it in the book a lot. The whole scene in Avasarala's office with Holden and Mao it's one of my favorite scenes in the entire book, actually. And, so I'm kind of disappointed that what we got here was him capturing him in the hallway and then him making him kneel to Avasarala. That was just let down.
I didn't take a picture of that because there was no good stop frame I could get for that.
I noticed.
Okay. Which is too bad because I mean, just going with show canon, that is the epic moment, of course. Yeah.
See, that particular scene,
moment.
No, the scene of Holden and Mao's meet cute. To me, that was my least. The one that I actually wrote down for a dislike. I decided instead of trying to go through all the changes, I picked one change that worked for me, and one change that didn't work for me. And the one that didn't work for me was the Holden and Mao meet cute. There's just something gratifying watching or reading or listening in the book, having Mao squirm as Avasarala goes out of her way to humiliate him, in front of Holden. It's just beautiful, beautiful scene in the book.
Yeah, ignoring him and talking to Holden and just ignoring him was beautiful. It really was.
The scene that I picked, the big change that I picked that I really like, and I'll discuss it more later too, but I really enjoyed how instead of Aaron Wright striking a deal and just disappearing, we never hear from him again. To the show, Aaron Wright actually getting busted and hauled off. That's another. This episode was an episode of gratification.
Yeah.
Probably Schadenfreude type gratification, but still some gratifications going on here.
Yeah, and especially when you consider Anna's involvement in that process, I think is sweet, and the payoff that we get immediately afterwards, where Aaron Wright is right, just gorgeous, just gorgeous, just gorgeous.
Yeah, it was a great scene.
Look at that smirk. That's just the best.
Sean Doyle, man, he's something else. Did you see him when he did his run on Discovery, Star Trek Discovery? He did a season on there.
No, never saw it.
Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting.
Okay. Good
Next
guy, bad guy? What kind of character?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Gray. Very, very gray. Max, how about you? Scenes or changes that you liked or disliked?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something that really, bugs me or anything. Nothing that affects my enjoyment really. Like stands out, like changes it, like makes it worse or anything. Nothing affects it that way.
Right.
This episode all around is great, It's
a great season finale in the middle of a season.
Yeah. I mean, as much as we dislike the actor, this scene was like pivotal for that character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a good character development scene for him.
Mm-hmm. I don't have the hate for the actor that you guys do, but I mean, yes. But you're talking about it's his home.
Yeah.
That is in danger here. And
but compared to the books, that was that's a huge character development scene for that character.
Yeah.
Especially to go from his safety of the ship to being going in person on another ship and boarding. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, that takes some cojones. Yeah.
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 That's two very different specialties.
And Alex never leaves the ship, at least not to go to another ship.
Yeah.
He'll go to a station.
Yeah. Boarding another ship that's a lot of character development, especially for, and when you have, let me see if I can get the picture here. I have it here quick. Where did I get the blasted thing?
Yeah. The only other time that he left the ship was one or two episodes ago.
Covered in this.
Oh, yeah.
Knowing what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Knowing what this stuff is.
See,
you're boarding that ship.
Mm-hmm. Alex is my favorite character in The Expanse, book or show.
Yeah.
And there's a reason. And that kind of shit is one of the reasons. And it's because he's my favorite character that I'm so bitter about the asshole who shall not be named, being the one to play him.
And while like I said, while it does take away from like Holden, it does give growth to Alex,
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't take away from the show, it builds on to the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't take away from the books.
Now, did you notice too that when he said, I have to go to the ship, Naomi says, you can't do it by yourself.
Yep.
And so she leaves and she tells Avasarala to keep an eye on everything.
I also noticed her face when he was saying he has to go.
Her what?
Avasarala's face when he said he has to go to the ship.
Oh, okay.
That's the face she made at him.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of like I'm still an Earther first. It almost looks to me like
she's like, I'm angry at you. You're an idiot.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I thought it was interesting, though, that, as I said, Naomi said you can't do it by yourself.
Mhm.
So she's going to go, leaves Avasarala in charge, which goes back to something we talked about last week. And that is in the course of the battle, in the books, Avasarala was in charge. So now she suddenly is. So that it's kind of a throwback to that, even though she's not really in charge of much of anything other than keeping an eye on the guys and watching the battle going on, which at this point, I think everyone's focused elsewhere. We'll probably get to that in a little bit.
Anything else in the?
There was the whole bit with Kotiar, which is not a part of the books, and is I still think a wonderful addition to the building up the canon within the show as opposed to the books. When you consider that probably 9 people out of 10 who watch the show will never watch or read the books. This show has become canon, and I think that his ending here is just nicely well done. I thought they gave the character a perfect way out, and his little talk at the end, what we'll probably get into, is just brilliant.
They talked a bit about the actor on the episode of Ty and that guy that they talked about when they referred to this episode when they were talking about this one. They talked about it, about the actor. Everybody really liked him. I guess he was like super popular on set, just friendly with everybody. Okay. And it's like one of those actors one of those ones that truly is friendly with everybody. And I was like, well, that's cool. Too bad you killed him off. I guess they were trying to find a way to save him even up to the last minute. It was like, we don't want to kill him off, but we kind of wrote it to kill him off. And so, but I've been having fun listening.
Okay. I wasn't going to say anything about him being killed off. So,
well, I mean, they killed him off here in this scene, on this ship when it blows. Now, put that picture back up, Max. I have not taken the one of him, of Kotiar.
Yeah, that's it. There's 2 of them.
Then with his face, where you can see his face. Put the other one up.
Oh,
is it on his face? Is that protomolecule, or is it just reflection off the lights around him?
He's infected.
Okay, I wasn't sure about that until I was looking at this still.
I had never paid attention to that myself.
Yep, he is 100% infected.
That's what I thought.
Now, what could it be because he grabbed the gun from Lieutenant Larson, and therefore it passed on to him? Because
we also learned the ship itself is infected.
Yeah.
I'm guessing there might have been scenes that got cut.
Oh yeah,
because the last we never saw Larson again. The last we saw was him coming out into the hallway, into the passageway.
Didn't he have a suit on at one point?
Suit on. He had a suit on when he came out into the passageway, and that was the last we see of him until this.
Yeah, but in the sequence here where you see him crawling around the reactor, you will see in the background a UNN helmet. So so keep an eye out for that next time you watch. But there is a helmet in the background, so he had to take it off in order to fit or something of that.
It should be noted that what does the protomolecule feed off of?
Radiation.
Everything. Oh yes, of course he's right next to
it gets
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. Very good.
And that's why it's definitely spreading as fast as where he is.
So if the protomolecules around, you run like hell away from Fukushima or Fukushima. What?
Fukushima.
Yeah, the reactor there in Japan.
Yeah.
Just go the other way.
Something like that.
Run like hell.
We're ready for the next question.
Yeah.
favorite scenes or dialogue?
Well, we've kind of touched on it as a scene, but let's go into the scene when Aaron Wright is confronted by the Secretary General, and Sedivir spends the entire scene pretty much talking to Anna and just pointedly ignoring Esteban. And then that line, that line, it's in his rant about
There she is,
Secretary
yeah.
General. He doesn't care about treason. That's just him parroting you because you talked to him last. If he spoke to a janitor, he'd be declaiming about a fucking mop. And I just like,
So
first,
I had
points for using declaiming, you know.
Yeah.
And
I
then
had
you don't see that used.
I had a progression here based on this scene.
Oh, okay.
This is
Okay.
Anna when she's first talking to him about Aaron Wright.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
is this when she's talking about Aaron Wright or about what their past was when he...
Yeah,
it's
their
that
past,
first
their history.
interaction
Okay.
before she
Yeah, their
introduces the
history.
evidence.
Okay.
Before she introduces the evidence.
The evidence. Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
just before it. And this is where she kind of gets a little bit smug,
Isn't that
And this is
beautiful?
where she like gets really happy when he's like, yes, he's gonna go to jail,
Mm.
And this is where he's like, this is about the genocide. The war is not on me; it's on Aaron right now.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh shit, he's happy there's war. It's not on me.
Well, and the thing is, this is exactly what Aaron Wright was talking about.
Mhm.
That he only cares, the SG only cares about his own,
Yeah.
what's it called? What people think of him in the
His
future.
own reputation, his own
Reputation.
legacy.
Legacy, that's the word. Yeah. And when she sees at the end, you had that picture up. Yeah, there. It's like her disappointment in him. Oh, perfect. Her disappointment in him is so severe. It's lovely.
Yep.
I'll tell you, Elizabeth Mitchell, I've been in lust with her forever anyway, but she is just so good about.
She is great.
Immolation.
It was really hard not to pick her as one of my top actors for the episode.
This
But then
scene here is
there's more to
just
do
after
with
he
her.
got taken away.
Yeah.
And he still has that smirk on his face.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, I know I've lost, but I'm still right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what it is. He thinks he's still right.
He doesn't think he's going anywhere.
The things he said to Esteban, he wasn't really wrong.
Mhm.
He's wrong on his methods and what he did, but what he said to Esteban there in that scene, he was kind of right. And what he said about Esteban is right. That's exactly how to describe SG.
Yeah. And, last episode when we were talking about Mao, you had brought up the fact that Mao thought he was right. He's doing it for humanity. He's doing it because Visa's doing something we don't understand. And therefore, I'm doing this. As bad as the method may be, the actual end target is a good, useful thing.
Right.
And Aaron Wright is in actually the same position here. The method was wrong. The target was right.
Yep.
I just think like
Also,
this whole thing wouldn't have started had they not done their poking. Yeah.
I also get a kick out of that whistling in the dark scene on the elevator. The one where they talk about they're just riding down on the elevator and just BS talk, and Naomi thinks that they're hypoxic, hypoxic, something like that.
Hypoxic, yeah.
Yeah. And I thought it was funny, and it was like, of course it was Australia. I knew exactly what's going on. But yeah, I get a kick out of that short little scene.
Now, I've got a scene that I really like, or actually a couple of them, but the one that we really want to discuss, we'll save for a little later.
Right scene?
Yeah, we'll save for a little later. When Lieutenant Larson After the fight, she shot the guy, the protomolecule covered guy, and she's
Sure.
sitting there
Yes.
with and she's sitting there with Kotyar, and they're talking. She's already shot the restraint off of his arm, but she's slumped down against the wall, and she makes the comment, "I don't even know what we're fighting for." That is just an epic line. I think this lady. Oh goodness, I wrote down her name.
Don't mind the
Sydney-
guy in the corner. He's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, you mean
ignore
the
the
one
whole
with the hole in his head?
No, that's not a hole. He's married.
Sydney Meyer. Sydney Meyer, because I have her written down in my notes.
Yeah. Yeah. Sydney, I've got
He's trying to dance. I think.
Ozalo?
No.
That's what they said in the.
That's her. It's the same person. She's just she's listed as a couple different by two different names on IMDb.
Yeah, she did such a nice job. I mean, for a short part that she had, just I thought she killed it. And that dejection at the end, when I don't even know what I'm fighting for, which basically in many cases reflects what so many people who go to war are all about. Yes, I'm here, I'm fighting for my country, but I don't know what I'm fighting for. I thought she did a great job. So that's one of my favorite scenes in the whole thing. We've already covered Kotyar and the actually disabling the reactor. I thought his little speech at the end was brilliant. He wants to say something pithy. What a great!
I have it written down.
Oh,
that was one of my lines.
Oh, what is it, Ben?
Well, Charnapal, I guess that makes us even. I always thought I'd have something clever to say in this moment. Something pithy, even a little ironic, but memorable. I can't think of a fucking thing. Oh well. I just love that. Oh well.
Yeah.
I almost think that. Oh well. It just the way he said it there. It almost feels like it was ad libbed. But it was probably written. But oh well, just perfect way to wrap that up.
Yeah. I mean, you're at the end of everything, so oh well.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is the best line in the entire episode. It is like one of the last lines. And it's Amos pouring milk for one of the kids watching the TV screen. What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
I'm just like
that was one of mine.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Max.
Yeah.
So,
literally.
My question is, did he
literally one of mine? Yeah.
Did he end up pouring too much milk?
That's what I keep wondering. It did slow down. He was slowing down, like he was like kind of aware he was still pouring.
Yeah, I was just wondering if even though it turned into more of a dribble, if he was just going to keep doing it. Or, it would have been funny if they had cut away after he had looked down and noticed and stopped. But
right,
given the angle of the pour, it would have stopped eventually.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
One thing I just remembered that I didn't mention about when we were talking about the scene when Aaron got arrested, is that was the scene that Daniel Abraham, half of James S.A. Corey, I know for a fact wrote, because Ty Frank was talking about it on the podcast, in particular that scene, because nobody was able to get that scene right. Daniel says, "I'll do it." He takes off with it, comes back. Here we go, and that's almost word for word what they used when they shot it. Sorry, Max.
Yeah, I was gonna say, obviously, my scene or sequence should be pretty obvious. It's the Amos and Prax scene, and it's gonna start off. Yeah, it starts off obviously with him and the scientist lady. I don't know what her name is offhand. And
the nurse, I don't remember her name.
And obviously, we get introduced to the kids and Prax seeing May, leading up to, you're not that guy, but Amos is.
I am that guy.
That,
And that's where
to me,
their podcast gets its name.
yeah, honestly, that has to be like, how is that not the best? One of the best scenes in the entire show.
I knew you were going to take
Yeah.
it, so I didn't
Yeah.
take it
I mean,
because I didn't want to steal one I
Yeah.
knew for a fact you would use.
it's got to be the best scene in this episode, if not the series.
Because matter of fact, I have here, if nobody else mentions it, that I am that guy seen in the airlock is in my notes. I figured you would.
I only have one picture of Holden in this episode, or on here, and it's this.
Yeah. Wow.
I just had to give a confused face for him. It was just perfect.
Wow.
Let's see.
Let me see. What else did I have here for?
I got
Yeah.
Bobby. This is the only scene I had for Bobby where she wasn't moving and not blurry. This is the only picture I could take where it was in her power suit, not running around, so I could actually get a good picture.
And
obviously,
yeah, it would have been nice to get a picture, that shot with the reflection of him coming off of her helmet.
Yep.
That was, yeah.
I definitely want to talk about Katoa at some point here.
Yeah. But like, those were some excellent scenes throughout this episode, but they were a pain to take pictures of because the CGI wise, it was better in movement than it was trying to take a still.
Yeah, they had their motion graphics their motion blur turned way up.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, since we're still on scenes, and I guess it's a scene. I want to talk about how Katoa died. When I first, up until today, yesterday, listening to Ty Frank talk about this scene, apparently there's theories all over the internet of what the Katoa / hybrid was looking at and why it was looking off up. And I always thought it was one thing, but apparently I was wrong. What I always thought it was the hybrid saying, "This sucks. Please kill me now. I'm not going to look, but kill me." And that's why it just sat there. That's how it always came across to me.
No.
But apparently it was Katoa, the kid in him, coming out and being fascinated by being outside for the first time, under an open sky, under the stars, under Jupiter, no dome or underground dwelling that they're stuck inside. He was stuck inside of, and that's what Ty Frank was saying. He always felt it was for him. But for me, it was to me, it was begging for a mercy killing is what it always felt like.
I thought it was communicating with Venus. That's what I always thought, that it was.
That's a popular.
Yeah, I thought it was, somehow, saying, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on?"
That's a very common thing, theory that he mentioned, and I can see that. I can see why you would think that. It just, I was like, wow, I thought it was one thing. I thought it was like trying to get a little bit more emotional, and here it is not really anything emotional at all. And it lost its impact for me, actually, because I thought it was a bit more impactful the way I was interpreting that. For me,
timing wise, was that before or after the Agatha King exploded?
That was before.
That was before, yes.
How much before? Because
not long.
A bit, not long, a little bit.
But you know what I mean, right?
But yeah, it was also before the squid started to rise up from Venus. That didn't happen until.
Oh, we know that was way before.
It seems like on the timing on the show, it seems like that timing of the pods being blown up might have triggered now, but I doubt it was actually anything to do. I think it was just coincidence in the editing.
Well, no,
it'd be way before the pods exploding from the nukes, but
it comes from the books. Actually, the book actually.
Are they really linked in the book?
Yes, it's
Yep.
linked in the book between the pods
Yep.
destruction and the rise of the
Oh, yeah.
octopus.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's what I was wondering about the King explosion was if timing on that being in the episode, if he could have been looking at the explosion as it went around, since it's
Oh.
radiation. That's why
No,
I was
that was
wondering
well
about
before
that.
that.
Yeah.
I just couldn't remember if
That
it was
was
like
well
5 minutes
before that.
before in the episode or not, because timing is funny.
Well, I'd never thought about it, but I really like the Katoa just being curious about being outside, because Katoa grew up in an enclosed area. Everything was tight. I mean, the most visible thing you're going to get is if you happen to go into one of the domes and, be able to see out. But probably most of the population of Ganymede never got to the domes. They lived in the tunnels and such. I like that. I like the Katoa, just wondering. That actually adds quite a bit. I'm going to have to look at it.
When he said it, I'm like, okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
Anything else on scenes that anybody wanted to bring up that you could consider under that? No, I don't have anything more.
Well,
Still,
there's
just that epic line of like,
there's the epic scene, which we haven't touched yet.
Well, we touched it once. I think you were out of the room.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the grand finale, the best line in the episode.
Yeah.
This here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not here.
This is the best line. What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just,
no.
Because
of the episode.
There were billions of other people saying the exact same thing at almost the exact same time.
Yeah.
Across the solar system. I mean, not literally at the same time, because it takes time for the light signals to get out there, but
and even Amos is worried about it.
Yeah. Now the most epic line happened a few sequences before that one.
Which one?
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah.
We talked about that too. I think you're out of the room as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, this is,
Oh, I am that guy.
That as well. But
yes,
that's it. Yeah.
That's obviously the most badass line. It's one of the most epic lines in the show. But in this episode too, like epic wise, like you see this giant thing come out of Venus, and it's like, what the fuck?
True. But this is the personal line that, and it is actually, and I don't know how much you cover this. I had to kind of take care of a doggy issue, but
it happens.
It's something where Amos actually saves Prax.
Mm-hmm.
Something we discussed. I don't know if you got into it while I was gone, but it's Amos had seen, and we discussed it last week. Amos had seen this deterioration of Prax over months and months of being on the Rocinante, getting harder and harder, and it's good that he was able to get in there and allow Prax to not have to face that devil at the very end. He was right there, but he didn't have to face the devil. And I thought that was as far as
well said, Norman Garden.
Yeah, as far as this show goes, as far as the show goes, I think that is probably in the top 5 sequences of the whole show.
Yeah,
for me.
And I put that as like the number 1 for like, you remember that scene? The what the fuck is just epic for like the ending of this episode. Like it just leaves like that's the last thing. Like makes you want to watch the next episode. Like what the hell was that? But that scene is the one that makes you remember this. You remember that one forever.
Yeah. And we know where that Ty and that guy come from now.
Yep. It also happens to be Wes Chatham's favorite episode of the season. I can't figure out why. No, I'm just joking. I understand why. Yeah, it's a pretty damn good, and I'm not that big a fan of how they adapted Abaddon's Gate, but it is still. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that starting next week.
Yeah, you're getting ahead of yourself a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit, but
And it is
just
interesting how big a change there is, going ahead a little bit, how big a change there is from, the end of book 2, which we've just seen on screen, and
Yeah.
what we're about to get in book 3 and in the second half of season 3. So I'm so looking forward to that, but there's still more to unwrap here, obviously.
all right.
Moving on.
I think so.
Cinematography, special effects, sound, music effects, etc.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the one I want to bring up, and it wasn't like a wildly awesome choreographed fight, but I think for a fight that's supposed to be taking place in 0G with people wearing mag boots, the stunt choreography for the fight between Larson and the proto zombie was pretty cool and well done. The camera work itself wasn't the greatest on that fight, but it was a little choppy, but it's not bad. But I want to give props to Marco Bianco as stunt coordinator and James Binkley, who played the zombie lieutenant. And we mentioned Sydney Meyer. She also, I'm pretty sure she did her own stunts in that fight because there was no stunt person listed for her.
You think those bruises are real?
No, that's the wrong character.
I know.
But yeah, I'm sure she would get bruised. She's tough.
I wasn't convinced at the beginning of that sequence when Kotar was floating, wakes up, and somehow just kind of oozes down into his seat without contortions.
Rewinding. I kept rewinding to see how he got some inertia going.
Yeah,
it didn't work. He got some movement going.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that I tried looking for what he pushed off of.
Right.
Yeah.
Or blow, get that
right.
Get the
that's used
moving.
in a later season. It's used in a later season.
The trick is Taco Bell.
Oh. Gaseous. Gotcha.
Taco Bell.
Little methane.
There's this dynamic shot that I really liked on the Razorback, where you've got Naomi sitting way back here, Alex up here. It's right after it rotates up, and the camera's focused on her way back here, and it's talking. And then as it transitions, they did some really neat CG work here up in front, because when you're focused on Naomi, Alex's 3D hologram screen is really blurred out, and it's like right up close to the camera. And then the transition as they refocus the shot, what the CG people did with that, with his display coming into sharp focus like that, just looked nice for this like short transition of a shot. And it was just, that just stood out for me for some reason.
I thought they did that at the beginning of the episode as well, when they're in the war room and you have the 3D plot being displayed that the SG kind of knocks down. I thought they had done I forget what it's called, a focus change on that as well.
I'm pretty sure you're right. I do believe you're right on that. It's just, this was the one that I kept rewatching, like, damn, that looks nice. When I watched it play back, it actually caught my attention, this one. But yeah, the CG on this show is pretty good. Not even the space stuff, just the internal, where people are at, and the holograms that people interact with. They just do a damn good job with them.
And like I said last week, another great shot was the one where the pods are lifting off, and you have the structure in the foreground, the pods, and then Jupiter in the background. Beautiful shot.
I got that one here for you.
That's Tycho.
No, nope. That's a Pleiades.
Did you get to
Oh, I know that's related because these are the missiles
Yeah.
shooting
Next-
at the pods.
No, I'm
Explosion.
talking about the pods lifting off
I know.
from Io.
I know.
Oh, okay.
I know.
All right.
I'm saying this is related to that because those are the
Yeah.
pods that shot from Tycho, or
There's-
not Tycho, but from, you know what I mean. It's a
there's
related scene.
beautiful-
Okay, so now a quick question. The pods that lifted off from Io, if they're going to go to Mars and, kind of thinking ahead to someone else who throws things at other places,
Yeah.
would you have all of the missiles going as a group, or would you disperse them to come in?
Ooh, disperse.
Yeah.
Disperse and grouped. Not grouped, dispersed.
So that would make it more difficult for Tycho to take them out as well.
They might not have dispersed just yet. They might still. It depends on when they're programmed to disperse.
Tycho's
Like
along.
right away, halfway, like a 1
Well,
AU away from Mars. They might be. Yeah.
I mean, they might be going past Tycho, but Tycho's still a long way from Io.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, it's like 3/4 of the way towards Mars. If it's in the belt itself, you have like 3/4 of the distance going from the Jupiter to the asteroid belt, and then another quarter going from the asteroid belt to Mars. So it's, it'd take a long time for them to get there, number one. But once again, with orbital mechanics and all that, you can't disperse too much. They pretty much have to follow unless you want them to all to hit at.
I would just remind that space is big and there's a lot of space in things.
Yep.
Yeah.
So even if you are following a trajectory, there's a lot of space and distance between things.
Hey, there's a lot of space in my ears.
So even if you are grouped together, there could still be a lot of space between things.
Mm-hmm.
And theoretically, you'd want to have enough distance that if one were to explode, you're not taking out the rest.
Oh, yeah. 1,000 kilometers distance between pods going towards their target is nothing in relation to the trajectory.
I'm used to sci-fi. I'm used to sci-fi space battles where they're firing missiles at millions of kilometers away. It's taken a while for those missiles to get there, but it's still anything less than like 100,000 kilometers is considered point blank in that series, and it's just getting used to everything else that wants to use them. But you want to look at spreading, but look at satellite constellations. Yeah.
1919 overtime.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
All right. Sorry.
Update.
Quick interruption.
So
that's fine.
When it comes to like cinematography, special effects, there were some areas where like it excelled at, like with the protomolecule. I had these two examples of like this scene was like excellent for protomolecule. So was that one.
Yeah.
But there was an area earlier where, like, this scene, it was kind of subpar compared to later.
Really? Okay.
Like this scene for protomolecule on Crota was just bad compared to this scene.
Speaking of the proto-molecule hybrid, that's Alexis Tufexis or Alex or something like that. It's the guy who played back in season 1, played the spy that they caught in between the two hulls on the Rossi. And we see him get snatched up. I had the proto-molecule shit on Eros there at the end.
He played this proto-molecule?
That's who does the mocap for this proto, the hybrids.
How wonderful for him. All right.
The Agatha King we see in the background here. And I believe was it trying to think was it Jupiter or the asteroid? I can't remember what it was, but like the planet thing just kind of looks very.
That's a moon. That's Io.
It just it looks bad in this
Io.
screen, but like also in reality, it probably wouldn't look very much of anything, So it's like on the one hand, the graphics of this asteroid suck, but in reality, it probably wouldn't look that great anyways.
From the pictures I remember seeing of Io, it does kind of look like a watercolor type painting in that,
Yeah.
things are, they
Yeah.
mush together. You don't have,
Yeah.
clear defining lines. Well, except for a couple of places, as I remember, there's like clear defining characteristics, but much of it is like this.
Yeah.
Though Io is not supposed to have any kind of real atmosphere. So if this is supposed to represent, like sulfur clouds or something like that, it'd be more like a sulfur fog, if anything, but
Yeah.
no more than that.
So like that it's one of those scenes where like it's tough because you have this, I don't know, call it planet, but I keep wanting to say planet, but like graphically it looks bad, but it also shouldn't look very defined like Earth should look defined. But even then, Earth also may not look as good as you'd want it necessarily look, depending on where exactly you are.
Now, I'm curious, did the planet's graphic change much? I would assume not, but change much in the course of this scene?
No, I don't think so.
But
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much exactly what you see in a later shot when it's in the distance and you see the whole disk of Io with silhouetting in front of Jupiter, and you've got the Rossi and the Razorback flying this way.
Yeah, but then you get to the
Basically filled with
explosion
sulfur.
part, and to me, like the Razorback and the explosion, it did not work for me.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
it's a backlit,
Yeah.
backlit scene. So, the foreground's going to go dark rented, and it'll be so overexposed. Now, maybe the blue that's around the perimeter there, maybe it should be more of a yellowish color.
But they did. I couldn't get a good screenshot of this just because of how fast it was going. But you did see the explosion of Agatha King before it went around the horizon, and it didn't really look that good because they didn't really spend a lot of time rendering the scenes that went by so fast.
Okay.
It was the same thing with the fight scene.
Okay.
Things was going. There was so much motion going on. They wanted the motion to make the graphics look good, and like to me, like this ship looks very plasticky versus how it looked in some other scenes because it was rendered very fast because there's a lot of motion going on.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is the movements of the ship when the explosion occurred. It had a little shift in nature. That would not be real because the initial wave that's coming out is simply going to be like protons, neutrons, electrons. You're not going to have anything. Well, protons and neutrons have mass, but you're not
there
going
is
to have
no
anything
pressure
that's
wave in space.
Yeah, it's not going to be that kind of pressure wave, rather than a debris field, which we've seen in the past, which is far more believable. Yeah,
the debris field.
But I think the issue for me on this is like they try to have things too close and too far away at the same time. Like they try to have the Io too close to the camera. They try to have the Razorback too close, and then they get the King like too far away with the explosion, and it just didn't work for like a CG sequence. Whereas you had the later explode, like this scene here, this worked perfectly.
Yeah,
this was a great scene. They showed the missiles in good detail for this scene of Tycho. And then they were launching the missiles at the other pods. They were just far enough out of detail. It didn't matter that they weren't high res detail because they were zooming off distance.
Yeah.
And then you see the explosions. We don't need to see a lot of that detail because they were kind of, exploding. And they're far away and pop, pop, pop.
And as I remember, and I was a little confused by this, so I need to watch it again, but I thought it looked like there were some of those drones that were retreating from the field of missiles before they went off, or it might have been some of the missiles starting to go off. I'm not sure, but I need to watch that again and pay closer attention.
When you guys are watching the show and rewatching the show, do me a favor and keep your eyes open for shots of the sun like from space, not from like a planet or a moon, but like from actually in space, a shot of the sun. I want to know what color they color it,
Okay.
because
Oh.
In space the sun is white.
I did also
It
want to
only-
mention the makeup on her bruises were fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was also the backpack, if you didn't notice, was animated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've
And
always noticed that.
That tiny little like CG sequence on the backpack was like one of the best things of like CG in this episode. Like just
Well,
for
in a previous episode
Yeah.
too, I thought they had shown that the graphics seemed to actually come off of
They
the
did.
pack too.
they're like
Yeah.
holographic, and it's like that little minor scene was like very well done. And to me, that was like one of the most how do they do it type of scene of it was just that well done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've kind of got sort of holographic looking stuff that could, but not animated holographic looking stuff.
And to me, that was like just a very well done shot for like
Yeah.
3D stuff. And then we get to the mother lode, the pimple on Venus.
For a second, I thought that was the thing on Holden's arm.
No.
Where that releases those drugs into him. At least the way that shot looked when you pop to it.
Yeah.
There's the squid.
Oh god.
This would make the
Yeah.
pimple popper lady, really happy.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's a pretty big pimple.
So is Naomi a pimple popper? Do we wonder?
I don't have
Probably.
that scene.
No, that
YouTube
looks
would
so
not
good.
like it.
Yeah, Norman Garden a short while ago had brought up the fact that blue was used for the nuclear explosion.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense. Cherenov radiation, I've forgotten the term for that. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I had forgotten it too, and I just heard as soon as I saw it, and I'm like, that's right, because I just heard it a couple days ago in one of the science fiction books I was reading or listening to. They referred to Cherenkov radiation.
Yeah, it's funny.
And,
It was something that they hadn't expected originally when they started doing the nuclear reactors. And then when it appeared, I think Cherenkov was, I believe he was either Russian or Polish, I forget. But
Russian.
he had he did the math and figured out why it happens, and so therefore he gets the name for it.
First time I ever heard it referred to, I don't remember which one of his books it was, but it was a Tom Clancy book. I was like a teenager, and I was reading like either it was like Hunt for Red October or Red Storm Rising or one of those books, that he wrote, and it was on a Russian ship that the engineer saw Cherenkov radiation and knew he was about to die, and that's all I knew about it when the first time I ever saw it in in print. I'm like, huh.
All right. Well, I wanted to get back to Max's pimples here.
Yeah.
Do you have a later shot of the protomolecule leaving?
Give me
Venus?
1 second.
I think he has a squid shot.
Yeah.
My sciatica is kicking my butt right now. That's why I
this is
keep
the-
squirming.
Basically, the final shot before the credits.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not as obvious here, but I think we see it at the beginning of the next episode. They describe it as a squid-like. Oh, there you go. Yeah, there you go. They described it as squid-like, and when I saw this, I just went, "Oh my God, they nailed it!
Yeah.
Absolutely nailed it!" Because it's hundreds of tendrils. It's not like 6, 8, 10, or something like that. It's hundreds, and it's beautiful. It almost looks like a brain with tendrils coming off of it.
Mm-hmm. Jellyfish, not squid. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, was it
Much
jellyfish in the books?
Kind of almost looks like a man of war at this angle.
Oh, okay.
Portuguese man of war.
Okay, I thought in the books they had referred to squid.
I thought so too. I do believe somebody referred to it as a squid in the book.
Okay. All right.
But yeah,
But yeah, jellyfish definitely describes what it looks like here.
definitely.
Actually, that or ZZ Top on a really bad day.
All right.
Yeah, the first thought I had when I saw it was it looked basically like a brain lifting out.
Mhm. Which
There was
actually makes sense, doesn't it?
one thing the show did that was a stretch for me, and it's when Larson shot the restraint loose, that
Yeah.
thin little cord, and then after the cord gets cut loose, then magically he's able to open it without a key or anything. It just opens it with his hand.
Well, no, that
How
makes
did?
sense. I mean, if there's an electrical thing going through, an
Oh, so it was a
electromagnet would hold it
power.
in place. Yeah,
It was held in by electricity, so that cord was also passing electricity. That makes
that's
sense.
what I always assumed. But
Okay, that works.
that close, she shoots 3-4 times,
Yeah.
and almost kind of looking away as she's doing it.
She's like,
Yeah.
"Ah,
What
dying."
did Courtyard say before she started? Wait.
Right?
Yeah.
But she already proved she's pretty much a dead shot with
It's
that.
because of the way
I
she
mean,
was
yeah, it was
looking at
point
him.
blank, but yeah, she got that dude there behind her, square in the center of his forehead.
Yeah. True.
At about the same range. It's just shooting something that narrow. Was like, okay.
Now, when she shot him, did anything come out the back, or I don't remember one way or the
Yes, there was a cloud of mist. There was a
Okay.
mist.
All right. So it went through. All right. As opposed to like a 22, which would just get embedded instead of going through or something. Yeah.
See, I
All
think the biggest issue is that she shot towards him rather than away from him, trying to destroy the restraints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The angle could have been a little better.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
All right. You guys want to move to the next?
Actors or actresses.
Oh, there are actors and actresses in this?
No.
I guess.
Oh.
There are just this.
People who look
Yeah, there
people
you
who
go.
look
Just
like
this.
characters.
What was the name of this?
Hypnotoad.
What was the name of this actor again?
Hypnotoad.
Oh, okay.
Squiddy
All hail
McPherson.
Yeah, as short as she was in, I thought the lady that played Larson did a really nice job. And as I said, even and it's mostly because of that one quote that I mentioned where, she said, I don't even know what we're fighting about. But a few things that led up to that. I think for the short time she had, she killed it.
Yeah. I definitely I wanted to make sure she got props, and that's why I listed Sidney Meyer under, when I did the stunt, stuff. But yeah, the rest of her scene there with Cotillard was pretty good.
Yeah.
But you can't ignore the person she was working with in that scene, because Nick Itarabay as Cotillard is just freaking great. And I'm giving a swan song props to him, his last episode. And he was still pretty good in it.
Yeah.
Did you have any others, Mitch?
I'm trying to think through. I didn't really make my notes as complete as
How about you, Max?
Normally do.
I mean, obviously.
Amos.
Well,
yeah. And I'll bring up, don't forget the other person in that scene with them. I would put my number 3. No, I didn't put him. There's a theme with the people I picked tonight. All 3 of the actors I picked, it's their last appearance on the show.
Yeah. For me, it was Amos Prax.
That's understandable.
Mm-hmm.
That's really understandable. I went with Ted Atherton as Dr. Strickland. I thought he was great the whole time as Strickland, playing just that sociopath that
There you go.
But yeah.
And he actually played this character true to the character in the book, right down to the very end. The killing a co-worker and trying to convince everybody that he's a victim as well. Beautifully done. Yeah.
That reminds me, I only have one picture in here for Mao. Trying to find the bugger.
On his knees?
No.
Oh.
Where did you go? He's hiding.
He's good at that, actually.
He
and
is.
His family's even better.
My number one for the episode, though, it goes back to Sean Doyle as Sadabar Ehrenreich. That last scene he has with Anna and the Secretary General. We talked a lot about it earlier. It's just that scene is just amazing, and Doyle just nailed the part. He really did pull this part off really well, and I'm really happy with what he did.
Yeah,
so
following that general thing, the guy playing the SG, I forget his name off the top.
Jonathan something. I don't remember.
It's the last time we see him as well. And
yes,
he just plays that character so true.
Whitaker. Jonathan Whitaker.
Jonathan Whitaker, thank you. He plays that character so true. It's wonderful. How did Ehrenreich put it? A good face, not a good face, but a something face with nothing inside.
Here's the picture right there for you. Describes it exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, I wish I had the exact quote, but it's perfectly done. Where he's got this handsome face or presentable face, something along those lines, but there's nothing behind.
Yeah. Here's the picture Mao was talking about. When you have a character like Mao say that to you in like a video game, it's very hard to listen to that.
Yeah. He actually looks like he should be in some sort of Halloween haunt.
Can I just ask, how stupid is the security guard that was with him?
Yeah.
Holden's already got the drop on. You got guns aimed right at you, so you're going to put the shit down and then try to draw on a gun already aimed at you?
Well, actually, he was very smart in that the moment he's confronted, he frees his hands up. So that's the first thing that he should do.
But he should never have went for his gun, because the other guy already had the gun out and aimed at him.
Yeah.
It's a little too late. Yeah, and nobody's that quick.
Yeah, unless you're
nobody.
I'd say the dumbest thing is that Holden is in body armor suit stuff that his pistol probably can't go through.
Oh, he's in light armor. He's in light armor. So the gloves, the gauntlets, you can actually use the. Oh, his pistol piercing his armor. Yeah, that's the light armor shit that will get pierced. Bobby's wouldn't.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because my understanding is that those rounds are less likely to go through that than regular rounds.
Well, yeah, we don't know what that dude was carrying. So
yeah, I mean, obviously the rounds that you carry on a ship are going to be different than something you carry on a planet, a moon, or something like that. Yeah.
But my guess is that it may not have even gone through his kind of suit. And since those kind of guys are probably going to be more trained to shoot center mass than your head.
Right. Yeah, it was just one of the stupidest moves I've seen a character make. Yeah. It was just a stupid move I watched this character make, and I'm just like, what? Why?
Well, it fits the agenda. So yeah.
All right.
He didn't want to hang out with Mao anymore.
Well, Mao is not that entertaining. Not that much fun to hang out with. I mean, you have a drink with him, and what does he do? He insults you and tell you that you're nowhere near as good as your sister. And I mean, the guy is just he's no fun.
Yeah. No love for the girl who all she does is throws parties.
Yep.
At least that's all he ever noticed she could do.
Oh, was that a
Yes.
beautiful insult back then? That was just,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, ready to move along, guys?
Themes.
Themes.
Oh.
Mitch, did you pick
I
up anything? No?
I advocate, or not advocate,
Ad-
I abdicate on themes.
Okay. Kitties is a theme? I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe.
It's on the backpack, right?
Oh, are those cats? I guess. All right.
It is
Yeah.
now.
I thought they were dinosaurs.
It's cat dinosaurs.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Felix Rex. Felosaurus Rex. Yep, see. No one garden agrees they're dinosaurs.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't see the.
I actually had a bit of a time trying to figure out what I would pick for themes for this episode. I guess right off the bat, there's pretty obvious, the idea of protecting the innocent. And by innocent, I mean not just the kids being protected by the adults who actually give a shit, but also Prax being protected as an innocent by Amos. Not just in combat, but also there at the end, you're not that guy. And there was
actually, following that theme, it's Bobby protecting the rest of the ground crew from the protomolecule. Yeah,
the hybrid. Yeah.
That's
and all of them together were protecting Mars. And Fred Johnson helped protect the innocent people on Mars when he took out those hybrid pods. And Aaron Wright, his motivation, so he says, was to protect Earth. And the vast majority of people on Earth are innocent of any reason to, that an outsider would want to go after them for, which is, but that was the big one that I found there. But I also noticed, I don't know if this is a thread or a motif going on, but there's a run on out of control or acting irrationally underlings and minions. In this episode, under Sorrento Gillis, you have Aaron Wright out of control. Under Aaron Wright, you have Wen out of control. Under Wen, all that insanity going on the Agatha King that happened because he launched those pods.
Under Mao, you've got Strickland.
Yep, the hybrids are out of control. The hybrids are out of control. Whoever supposedly worked for it, and Strickland, he's been out of control and talking Mao into bad decisions for a while now. And I already brought up Mao's crazy security guard. That's just you're not in control of yourself if you're drawing on somebody who's already got a beat on you. So I didn't really find much. It's not like it was lacking. It just nothing really stood out to me other than these two.
Yeah, I think the focus of the episode was basically not so much a theme as to bring home all of the themes that have existed for the end of book 2 within this particular season.
Right.
It's just trying to, you've tied all the knots. It's time to go out there and start running on the track, which we're going to do in the next week.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of,
All right.
words to like put together what this theme would possibly be. And it's like, something like, what the hell's the word I'm looking for? It's the words escaping me right now, but it's the
City 22,
two things are opposite here. But you have the whole Anna situation where she has this hope that things are going to get better, and they're just completely dashed when she sees that they're not getting better, even though Aaron Wright is, getting arrested, and then we have the Prax and I'm already losing his name. Amos.
Amos, wow.
He's
Heaven
restoring
forbid.
he's restoring hope in Prax. He's making sure he's not that guy, and he's restoring that hope. And so we have the duality of that, where we have Anna's losing her hope and Prax being his hopes being restored.
Okay.
So we have that going on. We have Mao.
And the show often does that. The show often does pair things opposites together like that.
We have Mao, who thought his hope was getting restored and gets crushed by, Avasarala.
Yeah. Now, Mao thought he was on the cusp of getting everything forgiven, or not, maybe not forgiven, but at least opened up for the family, for himself, and so on, so he could come back and fight another day. And his hope was dashed. Huge. I mean, the moment Holden showed up, that was it. Dashed.
And trying to think who the opposite for that is, because Strickland had his hopes dashed against a window.
Oof. Wow.
Yes.
I saw that coming too.
We have Fred Johnson.
I knew you were.
We have Fred Johnson, and we have Naomi, who their hopes might be for the Belters being restored by destroying these pods. And ending a war. So that could be the opposite, maybe, of these people trying to destroy the belt and Mars, having their hopes dashed in a couple ways, and being opposite of the Belters being empowered. The very people that they try to destroy being the ones to renew it.
Now, it's very interesting. We didn't cover this in differences in the books, but you brought up
Fred.
the Belters
Yep.
killing off the pods. In the books, Avasarala actually sees that as a threat as opposed to a solution. Because
yes and no.
She says they're flexing their guns because they're showing that they can use these weapons. Maybe not with the understanding that perhaps all of them were used. We don't know. But in the books, Avasarala, from a different perspective that she's in the film, she just sees that as not a threat, but as a posturing thing from the belt, as opposed to a solution to a problem. So that's a very interesting thing. I'm sorry I sidetracked your hope.
You're good.
Oh no,
it just brought that to mind, and we hadn't talked about that earlier, and that was a big change from the.
We did kind of forget about Fred and his whole side earlier.
Yeah. And Fred wasn't that involved, in this particular show, except
he was eating lunch.
Yeah.
Eating lunch. Did he even have a line?
Gets a phone call,
Yeah, I don't even think he said anything. I think he just watched their message quietly.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, in this episode, Naomi and Fred had the least lines. Naomi had a couple here and there, and then she had her Holden thing. She didn't have a line.
Yeah. The most she talked, I think, was when she was on the Agatha King. And I love it.
And talking to Johnson.
Her final line, I should have let you shoot him.
Yeah. Well, she also had the line talking to Johnson over the speaker thing or the phone call.
Oh, yeah.
Talking to Johnson.
Fred Johnson.
When she left the message.
Sending the message to him, yeah.
So that was her line. So she didn't speak much. She was there doing things, but she didn't speak a lot.
Yeah. Now, when she was speaking, they had cut to Johnson listening to her speak, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And I think she might have been
time we saw Fred,
and she might have been on the device talking. I can't remember if she was actually on the device talking.
And that's not the first time that they've used that thing, but I think it's very useful in being able to see the recipient of the message, which is commonly used in film anyway. You
Right.
look at the person talking, you look at the person who's being talked to. And I think they use it very, very well in the show.
You know, one of my favorite things about this episode, we won't ever have to hear that damn recording from Aaron Wright again. Did it get on anybody else's nerves after a certain number of times? It doesn't help that I watched these episodes 4 or 5, 6 times a piece. But you know, it's like, oh, that whole recorded message,
Well,
that he sent to Mao and Avasarala. We're done with it, thankfully.
I like the fact we hear it all the way through the one time. And
Yep.
then I think 3 or 4 times we hear the very beginning of it. And then
Yep.
1 or 2 times we hear it part way in for a short period. So,
Or the end of it.
yeah, but we never get the full thing ever again. And we never get the very end of it again, just bits and pieces of the early parts.
Yeah, I like that they did that, because it would have been truly aggravating to have heard it all the way through more than once.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm jesting. I'm not really that annoyed with it, but it was a little bit of it when I realized I don't have to hear that again for a long time, because I'm not going to be watching any of these earlier episodes for a while. My dad's already passed it, so I'm not watching them with him. He's in season 5 or almost in season 6 by now. And I'm watching later stuff after this. I'm not, and I haven't been watching much TV except for this channel, so.
It's interesting. There's a recording that's going to be relevant in later seasons that we hear once through, and then bits and pieces of yet again, and it is as momentous a recording as this one.
Is it the recording from the book?
No, I'm talking about the show canon at this point in time.
Okay, are you talking anything dealing with Anaros?
Oh,
so not the deep fake from the book.
Could be. No. So it's not the deep fake. It's something. We'll get to it. Sometime later this year, next year, however the gods decide.
Did anybody have any more notes of anything they want to bring up tonight?
Oh, I thought I had a quote or two maybe we didn't cover.
Yeah, let me double check my quotes. I think I got all my quotes in.
All mine are covered.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, actually, earlier, very early on, the SG is just absolutely astounded. Our ships are firing on each other.
A mutiny. I want to know what the hell that's about.
Yeah, I mean, we've been set up from the week before, but the fact that here you are, the president of all get out, and you find out that your ships are firing on each other, and you can't even hear from them for 59 minutes, they said. So
39 each way.
Yeah, or 39 each way. Yeah. So it takes an hour and a half to send something out and get a reply. Oh, I could imagine.
Either that or 39 minutes there and back. I would have to look that up. I could be wrong with how they refer to the delay.
Oh, I could imagine how frustrating that would be as a leader,
And that's a change, because in the book, Sorrento Gillis in the book doesn't seem to be as confused as to what the hell's going on, because he actually sends out that message saying that due to all these, strange, circumstances, certain people are wanted for questioning, starting with Admiral Wen, and it was like, that's when Wen started firing, because he's like, that's because from Avasarala's POV, he realized Aaron Wright made a deal because, and that's why Wen's on the hook now, and Wen knew it.
But Wen already has his own ship, and you've got Sauer on the other ships.
Yeah, Dag of the King was Wen's ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what Souther's ship is called in the books, but he's on his own. He was on a separate ship,
Yeah. I don't know if they
and the
actually
Jimenez never got blown up.
No, no. But
And
there
nobody
was there was battle before.
Yes.
Yeah. Prior
Yeah.
prior to confronting the Agatha King, there was the battle where you actually had the Martians and the Earthers align with the Rocinante.
Yeah.
So that occurred prior to the Io specific battle. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I think we're wrapped up for the night, guys. Mitch, thank you again for coming on, joining us for this season. It's been a blast having you on.
Yep. I'll be
Max,
here for
thanks for.
I'll be
few
here for
weeks.
next week. And if any of you care, tonight was the night for the 58th Super Bowl, which Kansas City seems to have won. My wife just stepped in and filled me in on the final. They went into overtime, too.
Oh,
So,
wow.
there you go.
So,
For any of you who
congrats
care.
to all fans out there. All you Kansas City fans, congratulations.
Yeah.
Everybody else, sorry. It's sports. That happens. Max, thanks for running everything. You make it a lot easier.
Max.
I appreciate it very much. And thank you guys at home, especially you, Noman Garden. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, everybody who's watching in replay. Please leave us a like, a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And hey, don't forget to be awesome.